Happy Halloween. We certainly know how to turn up the creep factor.
You just did, big time.
With our Halloween Maine Mystery series. That's how we do it.
Yes, I don't know. You get some competition there. Anyway, Katie has been bringing us these stories throughout much of last week and into today. Very interesting. And we're going back to Bucksport for this one, huh?
We are. We could spend the next 4 minutes doing that face, though, instead of this story. I wouldn't mind that.
After a while, so.
Okay. Well, Lee and Sharon, I've spent a lot of time in Bucksport over the years, but this is a story I had never heard before. When I did, I just knew it had to be a Maine mystery. It's the legendary story behind the man for whom the town was named after and why it's left such a mark on the community.
He's my great-grandfather 5 times, great-great-great-great-grandfather, Jonathan Buck.
Those who live in Bucksport will instantly recognize Ed Buck's family name. Colonel Jonathan Buck is known for settling the town in 1763. A war hero and community leader, Colonel Buck is still well respected to this day. But there is a dark story attached to the Buck name, triggered by a tabloid tale roughly 120 years ago.
And he just kind of made up a story.
And the legend began. One that says Buck condemned a woman to burn for sorcery. And as she was being executed, she cried out to Jonathan Buck, "So long shall my curse be upon thee, and my sign upon thy tombstone." Her leg then fell off and rolled out of the fire. It sounds far-fetched, until you see Jonathan Buck's monument, bearing what appears to be a ghostly image of a woman's leg.
It goes on to say that they somehow removed the image of the leg and it reappeared. They removed the stone entirely, replaced it with a new stone, and the leg appeared exactly as before.
The legend has made Bucksport a famous attraction to those with interests in the supernatural. Over the years, it's inspired postcards, books, even the annual Jonathan Buck's Race to the Grave. But what is the truth? While you can clearly see what looks to be the shape of a leg on the monument, there is a lot of evidence disproving the legend. Aside from a lack of record of the legendary execution, Colonel Buck had no authority to sentence anyone to death and was born decades after America's most notorious witch trials ended. The most obvious piece of evidence may be that Buck's monument is not his tombstone and wasn't erected until 60 years after his death.
Pure hokum.
Finally, according to the town, the stone of the monument is the original, and the image, a common defect in the granite caused by oxidation. But if you happen to be traveling along Route 1, stop and decide for yourself. Creepy coincidence or mark of a witch's curse?
And there is a really interesting fact behind this, something to consider. There have been many published rewrites of that legend, but some researchers say the most famous version, and possibly the very first version, was written by a tabloid journalist who had some downtime while covering the Sarah Ware murder trial in the 1890s. And Lee and Sharon, her story, as you know, was one of my earlier Maine mysteries that I believe aired over the summer. Another very good one. A lot of creepy legends in Bucksport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, nice town, or so I used to think.
It's definitely someplace worth visiting. Go check out the Historical Society there. They've got tons of stories like this. Right. So maybe today on Halloween.
Yeah, good
Stick
idea.
with the theme.
But let me get this straight. A tabloid reporter may have made up a story out of thin air.
Shocking. I couldn't believe it.
Right?
I could not believe it. I believe everything I read about the Kardashians, so I don't understand.
Looked like a leg to me, though.
Sure does.